Yo, what's going on, y'all? It's Combo Breaker 99. I'm back with another quick video. All right, y'all. I just want to talk about this current featherweight fight that's coming up for Kayla Harrison. As you know, Kayla Harrison is fighting on the co-main event November 20th for Invicta FC 43 against Courtney King. And as you know, the organization she's with, PFL, is currently on hiatus during this pandemic. So in the meantime, Kayla Harris is looking to fight for another outlet as she waits for a return. But before this came out, as you know, Kayla, she was in the midst of suing PFL for lost wages, for not putting on any events. But this was a pandemic. So in my opinion, that was understandable that they were just taking the proper precautions, didn't feel comfortable putting on any events. So, I didn't really think that was a reason to try to sue them. In my opinion, I thought that was a little over dramatic. Seeing as all fighters for PFL were dealing with the same thing. And I also think it was a little over the top that after winning the millions, the $1 million prize in the lightweight tournament, that was just kind of over the top that you're going to try to sue them. But yeah, that's something I wanted to talk about, I think last month when that was reported, but I never got around to, giving my thoughts on that situation. But Kayla, like most fighters, realized that, if one organization isn't putting on fights, you have to go to the next one, and you have to make sure that's in your contract. So now Kayla's doing the smart thing, and she's fighting for Invicta FC next week, but still plans to return to PFL when everything is okay. But in my opinion, it's a move that she had to make to realize that, look, you can't blame PFL right now. You can't blame them because, looking at the situation for all fighters, like I said, even for PFL, they're going to have to say, okay, I have to make money in a different way or go to a different organization. But I think she got the right idea going to Invicta or going to another organization. But in my opinion, I feel like she should have chose like a bigger organization. I think she should have went with somewhere where the caliber of opponents were much better or much more fitting for her, for the stage that she's in her career. I felt like a fighter with her caliber would be looking for big challenges. After going 7-0 in PFL and winning the tournament, in a way that's kind of like you graduating, sort of like whenever fighters win the Invicta Phoenix tournament, they graduated. They move on to like the Contender Series, and then they get a UFC contract, or they go straight to the UFC. So I figured that she would be trying to do something like that, get some solid names on her belt. I would think it's time to, say, hey, let's try for this 1 or 2 fight deal with Bellator UFC. So when you think about it, next Friday, Kayla, she's competing at 145, and in my opinion, I think Bellator would have been a better choice. Because they have a solid featherweight division for a fighter like her. That's moving down from lightweight to featherweight, that can really test her. At the same time, she's a fighter that talks a legacy and also calls out fighters like Chris Cyborg. She called out Chris Cyborg before. So you would think reaching out to Bellator, making that transition to Bellator in the meantime, while you're out of PFL, that would have been no problem. I'm sure Scott Coker, he would have loved that chance to have a big name like Kayla Harrison over here, especially just to kind of spark interest in the featherweight division and spark interest in Chris Cyborg and bring more eyes to Bellator. So why Kayla didn't reach out, I'm guessing that she still doesn't really feel ready as a fighter, as far as, like being a complete fighter, to take on a challenge like Chris Cyborg or even some of the other top-ranked featherweights in Bellator. So she went to Invicta FC instead and chose to take on Courtney King. No knock to Courtney King because, she's still growing as a featherweight too. That's why she's in Invicta FC. And I think a fighter like, Kayla Harrison is a little bit above these fighters in Invicta right now, except for some of the fighters that I'm surprised she didn't get matched up with. Like, you got Caitlin Young, a veteran. That would have been somebody that would have gave her a good fight. Also Chelsea Chandler, another dangerous featherweight that I feel like would have gave her a good fight. Granted, if Pam Bam Sorensen wasn't out with surgery, that's another choice for her. So those names like that, I feel like they would have been good choices for her. But at the same time, I feel like she didn't choose those fights because she knew they probably could, pull off the upset. But in my opinion, I feel like if she would have ever made that move to Bellator, honestly, that would have been the perfect timing. Now would be the perfect time for her, to do that. But she didn't execute that. So I really think that her move to Invicta FC was just more so to stay busy and, just get a bag, get a paycheck. But, don't ever overlook someone like, Courtney King. I mean, we can match them up all day and say Kayla's the favorite, but still, like, don't just go in here thinking this is a stay busy fight, because it could be an upset. Just saying. But yeah, that's just my thoughts on that whole situation. Let me know what y'all think about Kayla Harrison going to Invicta instead of going to Bellator or the UFC. Make sure y'all subscribe. Combo Breaker 99. I'm out. Peace.